What is a sacred fire and what is the purpose of it? In this video, we're going to discuss exactly what a sacred fire is and how it is used in the Indigenous culture for wellness, healing, and special ceremonies. Keep watching for all the most important information about the history of this sacred practice and how it is performed. Hi, my name is Mallory. Welcome back to the Tribal Trade channel, where we share new videos every single week about smudging, the Indigenous culture, and Native teachings. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so that you never miss a video. Sacred fires are an important part of the Indigenous culture and many sacred healing ceremonies used by Indigenous people for generations. There are so many teachings associated with the sacred fire. Sacred fires offer remembrance, healing, and togetherness. At Tribal Trade Co., we love to help people learn about the Indigenous culture and practices just like this one. So today, we're exploring another Native tradition that you may or may not have heard about before. By the end of this video, you'll know the basic fundamentals about sacred fires and how they're used in Indigenous communities. Keep watching as we answer 5 important questions about sacred fires and their importance in the Indigenous culture. Sacred fires have been used for generations as a way to heal, bond together, and begin sacred ceremonies, events, or rituals. Not only do fires in general have a variety of unique benefits, but the sacred fire itself has traditions and protocols that are followed in order to uphold the integrity and sacredness of the fire. There are 5 important things that you should know about sacred fires and their place in the Indigenous culture. The first important fact in understanding what a sacred fire is what makes a sacred fire sacred. A sacred fire is sacred because it is used as an Indigenous traditional wellness approach. A sacred fire is an important part of Indigenous spirituality, as well as communication with the spirit world and our ancestors. It is a sacred practice meant to make individuals feel open, grounded, and connected with the people on the earth and those who have moved on. Unlike a traditional campfire that is used for cooking, sacred fires are primarily intended to perform a sacred practice or a spiritual ceremony. The second important fact in learning about sacred fires is who makes the sacred fire. A sacred fire is built by a knowledgeable Indigenous person who's been asked to keep the fire for a spiritual gathering, ritual, or a sacred ceremony. Usually, there is a firekeeper who builds, maintains, and keeps watch over the fire so that it is never unattended. Now that we know who makes a sacred fire, who exactly is a firekeeper? Traditionally, men are the firekeepers who maintain and watch over the sacred fire, while women attend the ceremony. This can vary depending on the tribe or nation and the type of ceremony taking place as well. The most important part to understand is that there are certain people assigned to the role of firekeeper, and they are only people who are allowed to disturb the fire and stand watch throughout the ceremony. Have you ever heard of a sacred fire before? If you have, comment below with yes. If no, comment below with no. Now that we've talked about the basic components of a sacred fire, let's dig a little deeper into why sacred fires are performed, their benefits, and their practice. Now, the fourth important fact in learning about a sacred fire is what is the purpose of a sacred fire? The sacred fire is traditionally used to start a ceremony or a sacred event. Not only does the sacred fire provide a respectful way to open an event or a ceremony, but it plays a distinct role in the overall event as well. The sacred fire is considered a spiritual doorway that opens to the spirit world so that individuals can communicate through the fire. It is used to connect with our ancestors, to communicate with them, and to ask them that they respect our prayers. Overall, the sacred fire is used as a place to gather and celebrate. Often, it lets us reflect on our purpose on earth, either at the beginning in birthing ceremonies or at the end when we go back to the spiritual world. Now that we know what the sacred fire is, who keeps the fire, who the firekeepers are, and the purpose of the sacred fire, finally, let's talk about the rules of sacred fires. The fifth important question in learning about a sacred fire is, what are the sacred fire protocols? Because the fire is sacred, there are very specific protocols in place to keep the sacred fire pure and burning brightly. Only sacred items such as tobacco, sage, cedar, and sweetgrass can be placed in the fire. This acknowledges our ancestors. Additionally, food for our ancestors can be placed in the fire as well. The sacred fire is never left alone. It is always watched and attended to by a firekeeper. Participants are often asked to be positive, respectful, and open-minded to nurture a positive space for everyone involved in the experience of the sacred fire, and to ensure clear communication between us and our ancestors. These few facts are the most important things to know about sacred fires, their purpose, and how to participate in one. Sacred fires have long been a part of Indigenous culture and wellness, and are still used today as an important part of Indigenous ceremonies and communication with our ancestors. I hope this helps you understand sacred fires better and to be better prepared if you ever have a chance to participate in one. Would you like to know more about other Indigenous traditions, teachings, and practices? One of the most common things to do at a sacred fire is to smudge and say a prayer. So if you'd like your very own personalized smudge prayer, visit the link in the description and answer 7 quick questions to get your very own smudge prayer. You can also join our Facebook community where we learn about these important topics in a friendly, inclusive group. Have you ever been to or participated in a sacred fire before? We would love it if you would share your experience with us in the comments below. We can't wait to see you next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.